Before we dive in, viewer discretion is advised. This content is for entertainment purposes. What happens when one of entertainment's most legendary icons sits down with daytime television's most notorious panel and everything goes catastrophically wrong? When decades of pin-up industry frustrations collide with calculated ambush journalism on live national television. What you're about to witness is the most explosive confrontation in talk show history. A moment when a true legend reminded the world exactly why she earned that title and why some battles are worth fighting no matter the cost. This is the story of Cher versus The View, a clash destined to be replayed, analyzed, and debated for years to come. The morning on The View studio floor began like countless others. Production crews moved with mechanical precision, adjusting lights, testing microphones, preparing camera angles, and reviewing lines. The hosts arrived in the green room one by one, transformed by makeup artists and stylists into the polished television personalities America believed they were. But beneath that surface polish, tension simmered. Something about today felt different. Cher, 68 years old, was scheduled to appear in the second segment to promote her new memoir, Unfiltered, 5 Decades of Truth. It should have been simple. A legendary figure talking about a legendary career. For Cher, it was routine. She had walked into thousands of interviews with grace, confidence, and disarming charm. She knew how to handle tough questions. She knew how to stay poised under pressure. She had been through far worse in her life than anything a daytime show could throw at her. Cher possessed the resume of a titan. Over 100 million records sold worldwide, multiple Grammys, an Oscar, and a cultural legacy spanning half a century. She had survived every attempt to tear her down: sexism, ageism, blacklisting, body shaming, political attacks, threats, and relentless gossip. Legends like her weren't manufactured. They were forged through war. What Cher did not know was that The View hosts were not preparing for a respectful interview. They were preparing for an ambush. Joy Behar sat quietly in the morning meeting, the practiced silence of someone waiting for the right moment to strike. Whoopi Goldberg seemed strangely distant, almost resigned. Sarah Haynes and Sunny Hostin exchanged glances sharp enough to cut glass. Ana Navarro shuffled pages like ammunition. The strategy was clear: corner Cher, provoke her, challenge her legacy, and extract a viral moment that would shake the internet. When Cher walked onto that stage moments later, the studio erupted in applause. She smiled, waved, and eased into her seat with the confidence of a woman who had earned her throne. Cameras rolled. The nation watched. No one knew they were seconds from witnessing history. The interview began smoothly, almost deceptively so. Whoopi Goldberg opened with familiar warmth, praising Cher's memoir, her career, and her resilience. Cher responded graciously, speaking gently about the book's creation and the meaning behind, telling her truth after 5 decades. She laughed with the audience, cracked small jokes, and charmed the room the way only she could. But beneath that easy rhythm, danger lurked. The host studied Cher, waiting, almost hungry, for the opportunity to shift the tone. The studio crew sensed it too. Behind cameras, nervous eyes darted toward monitors as if bracing for impact. The moment arrived when Joy Behar leaned forward, eyes glinting. "So Cher," she began, voice suddenly sharp, "you've been in this business for over 5 decades. Tell us, how exactly have you managed to stay relevant all these years?" Relevant. The word struck like a slap. It didn't celebrate achievement, it questioned it. It implied expiration, irrelevance, decay. Cher's expression shifted subtly. Her smile remained, but steel entered her gaze. When she replied, her tone was controlled, calm, laced with a warning. "I think staying authentic has been key," Cher said. "I've never needed to manufacture drama or controversy. My work speaks for itself." The audience murmured in approval, but the hosts didn't smile. Ana Navarro leaned in next, seizing momentum. "That's interesting," Ana said, smugness coating every syllable. "Because some people say your recent social media activity has been controversial. You've been extremely vocal about certain political figures, haven't you?" The temperature dropped. Cher straightened, posture crisp. "I speak up because silence doesn't change anything," she replied. "If people are uncomfortable, that's their issue." But the hosts pressed harder. Joy asked why celebrities didn't stay in their lane. It was an old insult framed as a question. Cher fired back. That's rich coming from a show built on political commentary. It's acceptable when opinions match yours. Otherwise, shut up and sing, right? Gasps filled the studio. Whoopi tried to cool the flames, calling Cher defensive, a deliberate trigger word. Cher's voice sharpened. Is this a conversation or an interrogation designed to make me look bad? The audience realized it. Cher had been set up. Cameras zoomed closer. Producers whispered orders. The air tightened. The interview was shifting into battle formation. There was no going back. The ambush escalated when Sarah Haynes crossed. A line no professional interviewer should ever cross. She casually leaned forward, voice unnatural in its forced innocence, and asked Cher to comment on rumors about her personal relationships. The studio gasped. They could feel the shift from attack to assassination. Sunny Hostin chimed in, adding weight to the accusations cloaked behind thin concern. For someone who preaches authenticity, she said, don't your fans deserve transparency? Cher froze. Hurt flashed across her face. Then confusion. Then anger, the kind that comes not from insult, but betrayal. She had been invited as a guest, not a target. She had expected conversation, not character murder. You call this legitimate journalism? Cher snapped. You're spreading gossip and rumors as fact. That's not authenticity. That's poison. The host cracked. Ana Navarro's outrage looked rehearsed instead of righteous. Joy's face tightened, her persona slipping. Whoopi tried desperately to salvage the narrative, but lacked conviction. Their authority was crumbling under Cher's fury. Then Joy delivered the most reckless blow of the morning. Maybe it's time to accept your moment has passed. The industry has moved on. Perhaps it's time you did, too. The words detonated in the studio. Cher inhaled sharply, eyes blazing. My moment has passed. She repeated, voice trembling with power. I've been breaking barriers and fighting battles while you were learning how to read a teleprompter. She stood, towering above them like judgment itself. I was selling out arenas before you were born. I was fighting for LGBTQ rights when it cost me careers, money, safety. I earned my place. You don't get to decide my expiration date. The audience erupted. Some cheered. Some gasped. The room pulsed with chaotic energy. Sarah whispered for calm, voice shaking. Cher cut her off. Don't tell me to breathe. You question my relevance and integrity, then ask me to relax? I've filled stadiums. I'll be performing long after this show is forgotten. Ana protested professionalism. Cher laughed bitterly. This isn't professional. It's petty mean girl politics disguised as journalism. Security edged forward, unsure whether to intervene. Cameras stayed glued, praying the broadcast continued. The View had lost control. Cher was rewriting the narrative live, raw, and fearless. The tension reached a breaking point when Joy, red-faced and furious, launched the most vicious accusation yet. Maybe this outburst is why people question your stability. It doesn't scream legend. It screams diva who can't handle criticism. Silence swallowed the studio. The accusation wasn't about career or politics. It attacked Cher's mind, her sanity. For a woman who had survived decades of intimidation and price-paid activism, it was the ultimate disrespect. Cher stepped forward slowly. Suddenly, the entire panel seemed small. My stability? She repeated, voice deadly soft. I survived blacklisting, death threats, decades of sexism, public scrutiny you couldn't endure for 5 minutes. And you think this little club can break me? Her eyes locked on Sunny, Ana, Sarah, Joy, and Whoopi one by one. She dismantled their facade without raising her voice. You preach women supporting women, she said. Yet you ambush female guests on national television. That's not empowerment. That's hypocrisy. Hosts who built careers controlling conversations had no words. You wanted a viral moment? Cher continued. Congratulations. But it won't be the story you planned. It'll be the story of how 5 hosts tried to corner a woman who's been fighting her whole life and failed spectacularly. Audience members stood. Some applauded. Some cried. Others simply stared, realizing they were witnessing something historic. When Whoopi finally whispered, "We need to keep this civil," Cher didn't flinch. Civil left the room when you brought lies and gossip. Civil left when you questioned my worth and sanity. The producers, frozen in disbelief, let the cameras roll. They knew they had gold. Dangerous, irreversible gold. Cher delivered her final words like a verdict. You cannot silence someone who learned to speak in fire. I am here because I earned this seat. And 5 rattled hosts aren't going to take that away. With that, Cher turned from the desk, hair flowing behind her, leaving the View panel speechless. The studio audience exploded into applause as she walked off set. A queen exiting her battlefield victorious. In living rooms across the country, people sat stunned. On the internet, clips began spreading instantly. Analysts, reporters, and fans flooded social platforms with their interpretations. One thing was certain: Cher's legacy hadn't been stained by this interview. It had been strengthened. They tried to diminish a legend. Instead, they reminded the world exactly why she is one.